Hi guys, my name is OJ, and on today's episode I'll be teaching you guys how to make a bodice pattern. If this is something you're interested in, please keep on watching and do not forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. So for this drafting, you're going to be needing your straight ruler, your curved ruler, your marker, your tape roll and your drafting sheet or your drafting paper. So the first thing I did was to rule out my border line, which is going to be serving as my shoulder line. Then from my border line, I came down by 8 inches, which is going to be my chest line. Then by 10 inches, which is going to be my nipple point or my bust point. Down to my waist length, 15.5 is my waist length. Then down to my top length, 24 inches. Then I ruled a vertical line, a vertical straight line for this point. And I labeled this line SH as the shoulder, CL as the chest line, bust line, and my top length. So my shoulder line, that is where I'm going to be measuring my shoulder, which is 14, and it's going to be 7 inches on fold. And I'm going to do the same on my chest line, so I can have a straight vertical line. So right now I'm writing down my measurements. You can do this so that you won't get confused. All our round measurements are going to be divided by 4. Your bust, your waist, and your hip. So in this case, I'm having my bust 34, waist 26, and hip 35. So on my bust line, I'm going to measure my nipple to nipple point, which is 7 inches, and on fold is going to be 3.5. So I'm going to do this on my bust line, my waist line, and my hip line. This is for me to get my dart. Then I ruled a vertical line, vertical straight line. So on my waistline, that is where my dart is going to be concentrated before it's even out. So I went on both sides by ½ inch. Then on my bust line, I came down by 1 inch, and on my top length, I went up by 2 inches. Then I'm connecting my dart this way. So after that, on my chest line, I'm going to measure my bust, which is 8.5, and 1 inch seam allowance. And on my waistline, I'm going to do the same. I have my 6.5 waist, and I'm going to add my 1 inch that I removed initially with my seam allowance 1 inch. And on my top length, I'm going to do for my hip. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this point together, from my bust to my waist and my waist to my hip. So I went ahead to determine my armhole curve. I divided my vertical line into 2, which is 4 inches, and I went in by 1 inch. So I'm going to connect these 3 points together. For a basic neckline, we have 3 inches width and 3 inches depth. So I went ahead to connect these 2 points with my curved ruler. So moving on, I want to get my shoulder slope. I came down on my shoulder line by 1 inch and I reconnected to my neck point. Then from my mid curve, I reconnected back to my shoulder slope. My first line is cancelled out. On my top length, I went up by 2 inches at the side, 2 inches at the side, and reconnected with my curved ruler to the center front. This is going to give your top a nicer look, and that will be all for your front pattern. So I went ahead to cut it out. Moving on to your back pattern. Your back pattern has 3 major differences from your front pattern: your zip allowance, the neck curve, and the armhole curve. So for my neck width, I'm having 3.5 inches as in my front. Then my neck depth is 2 inches. So this is just the basic curve for the back pattern. You can decide to modify this later. So I made a straight line towards my zip, and I came down as I did for the front by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So for the armhole curve, you are not coming in by 1 inch. You just go ahead to connect your curve this way. For my zip not to gape on my waistline, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. I have 1.5 initially, but I'm going to go in by 1 inch on my waist. Then I'll reconnect this point to my hip and back to my neck point. This is going to prevent bulginess at the back zip. The 1 inch bulginess you took out from your back zip, you have to add it back at the side so as not to shorten your measurement. Then reconnect back to your armhole and back to your hip line. Then you cut it out. So I went ahead with my 2 inches at the side, just exactly the way I did for the front. I reconnected to the center front. And that is all for your back pattern, guys. Then I went ahead to cut it out. And that is all for your basic bodice, guys. If you find this video useful, please do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any question, please leave it in the comment section. I'll be there to answer all your questions. Bye, guys.